Welcome, my name is James Phoenix and I'll be leading you through this course on how to use Cursor to effectively speed up your development workflows. What is Cursor? Well, Cursor is actually a clone or a fork of VS Code. So if you're using VS Code, it's basically got everything you know about now, VS Code, the extensions, but they've built it in a way where it has an improved developer experience for working with AI and generative tools for software development experience and workflow. Some of Cursor's key features include an agent mode, which allows you to edit multiple files simultaneously, a chat mode, which allows you to describe in natural language and work with code and editing or reviewing code. Also, Cursor provides tab completion, so as you're in the moment, you can do smart completions by hitting the tab key. What you'll learn from taking this course is how to use Cursor to speed up your development. We'll also talk about how you can create custom MCP servers to build your own workflows of inside of Cursor. Finally, we'll also leverage Cursor Agent with a test-driven development SaaS Boilerplate that you'll get for free by taking this course to help you build reliable software. In the next video, we're going to go through how you can sign up to Cursor and also how you can download and get that installed. To sign up to Cursor, go to the top right on the website cursor.com and click on the sign in button. After you've clicked this button, either sign in if you already have a Google account or a GitHub. If you want to do an email address sign up, click on the sign up. I already have a Google account, so I'm going to sign in with Google by clicking the Google button. After signing in to your Cursor account, you'll see there's a couple of interesting metrics here. On the right, we have the usage, and you can see we have premium models and you have a cheaper or small model. You have an unlimited amount if you buy a Cursor subscription. I would recommend doing that. They offer a free trial and it's currently $20 a month. Also, it's worthwhile if you're a heavy user of Cursor turning on usage-based pricing. And basically what that means is if you go above your premium model limit of 500 requests, you can opt into receiving premium usage, which is great if you're using these kind of models day to day. So I'd also recommend turning on usage-based pricing, but do remember to set a monthly spending limit. To download Cursor, just click on the top right, click on the download button. Now in the next video, we're going to show you the best settings for Cursor so that you get the most out of the tool. You can easily access all of the content via GitHub. This is a publicly accessible link and all of the course materials are numbered in here and match the lecture lessons. Also notice you can click into any of the folder structures, and as this continues to grow, we'll add more and more content over time. This means that you can easily download all of the resources in one place just with a simple git clone. Hey, welcome back. In this video, we're going to look at a tool called Better Dictation. This is a tool that's a single purchase, and then it will use a localized open source model called Whisper, which is built by OpenAI, so that you can use transcription for free after doing one purchase. I'd really recommend buying this tool because you can use this dictation directly inside any input box, either in the chat window or inside a Composer. Let's have a look at how we can use this dictation tool to streamline the work of your development process. All right, so I'm in a new project inside of Cursor, and what we're going to use is the Better Dictation tool. So I'm going to hit Command-Shift, I'm going to load up a Cursor window, and then I'm going to actually use Better Dictation to talk directly to Composer. I want to build a full stack web application that uses to-do lists on the Fast API backend, and then for the front end of side of the application, I'd like to use an index.html file. We want to be able to add, remove, update, and delete to-dos. Can you make this a really super dope program? Let's go. And there you go. So basically, we've just got the ability to directly talk to Composer using dictation. You can also do the exact same thing inside the chat box or inside the inline edits. So now I've got this application. The other thing we might want to do is we might want to also make it into a SQL-like database. So I'm going to also then go and accept all these changes and then say, can you make this into a SQL-like database and show me how to run this web application? And there we go. Again, we're dictating to Cursor and Composer is now doing its stuff and it's rewriting the main.py file. And you can see here it's doing some updates. It's also told us that we need to install these things. I'm now going to go and have a look here. So what have we got? We've got a Fast API. Let's run these pip installs and make sure we have everything. So I'm just going to go to an integrated terminal and we're going to run all those. Let's have a look. Let's see. We need to load UVcorn. So I'm going to load that. And I'm going to go to this web page and have a look. This web page isn't exactly what we're looking for. It's not found. So we're going to go directly back into Cursor and work exactly the same way that we've been doing before, where we're basically just going to tell it what's wrong and see what it recommends to fix the code. Currently, I'm getting a 404 page not found. And also I'd like to make sure that this application is working functionally. Please, can you help with this? And you can see that the transcription isn't exactly what we're looking for, but in the rough general scheme of things, we have got the ability to do this. So let's have a look now. So we're going to go and accept all those changes. Then we're going to restart the web server and have a look at that. So we've got this to-do web page, but when I'm adding a to-do, I'm running into the same error. We've got some 422 unprocessable entity, which is telling me that the input to a specific row is not actually correct. So let's have a look at how we could fix this. See, I'm going to get Python to fix any of these main.py errors inside of Cursor. So I'm going to click on main.py, click copy, go to Composer, and then paste those in. It's not working. And we're just telling Composer exactly what the problem is inside of VS Code and that the add to do doesn't work. At the moment, it's updating this, creating that table. So you've got the to-dos, create, update, and delete. And it's also adding the index file to fix the add to do as well. So we'll just wait for Composer to finish. So it's making that main.py and the index.html. And again, you can mix dictation with typing. So hopefully this gives you a feel for that. Let's have a look at that. All right, cool. So it looks like that works. I can add to-dos and they look like they persist, and I can also cross them off. Can I delete them? I can indeed delete them. So we've managed to do that in under 4 minutes. So hopefully this shows you the power of combining dictation with tools like Cursor Composer. Hey, welcome back. And in this video, we're going to have a look at how you can integrate custom documentation to help your code generation with Cursor. We're going to be using LangChain, and we're going to be creating a Python script that allows us to import custom documentation just in case Claude or OpenAI's models or any other type of model doesn't necessarily have that pre-training data, that maybe the package has just been updated. This is where we're going to have to go and get that documentation, add it into Cursor, and then integrate that into our script. Let's have a look at how we can do this. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to copy this documentation. I'm going to go into Cursor and I'm going to go and load the chat window with Command Out. After loading this, I'm going to do the @ symbol and I'm going to go to docs. And then I'm going to add a new doc, and then I'm going to paste in the documentation here. And then it will find the prefix that it thinks it's at. So this is the version 2 of LangChain docs. I'm going to say this is LangChain docs Python. And then I can click confirm. Now that I've got it, you can have a look here, and now you can see that it's actually indexing this documentation. Yeah. So we'll wait until that indexing is done. You can see, you can have a look at how many pages are indexed here. And also you can update the name, and you can also refresh as well. So that can be quite useful if you want to refresh the index and make sure it's up to date. Now we've indexed 6 pages so far, so you can see now the pages are starting to come in. A couple of things here, obviously the packages might change over time, so you might want to re-click this re-arrow and that will re-index your content. Also be aware that this is indexing it locally. So now that we've started to gather up all these pages, we've done about 30, and it's going through and doing that. Let's have a look and see if it knows what we're talking about. So for example, we want to use this LangChain OpenAI, and we want to also use something like, let's have a look at this. Yeah, so we use LangChain OpenAI. It's going to be running, it's indexing this at the moment. So lots and lots of pages that you can see here. So we're going to say, we're going to use the LangChain OpenAI, and I'm just also looking for something else that we can demonstrate. Maybe a chat-based loader or something like that. So let's have a look. So we can go back into our script whilst that's indexing, and then we can say, let's just ask a question first. So I can say, how do I load OpenAI's chat model using LangChain? And notice that we've added the LangChain docs Python, and now what it's doing is it's looking at my query and it's finding specific parts of the documentation that it thinks it should include inside, and then it's retrieving those results, and then the LLM, in this case Claude 3.5 Sonnet, is actually deciding how to generate that response. So we're using that retrieval augmented generation, and you can see it's come up with this answer here where I can import LangChain OpenAI, and let's put that in a Python block. So I'll just do a new one here, and then I've got to convert this to a cell. Okay, great. So we figured out how we can get a LangChain OpenAI, and I've already got an API key saved locally. So I can just do GPT 3.5 Turbo, so we'll get rid of this and we'll do GPT 4.0 instead. Okay. Now I'm going to ask it, how do I call this? Oh, and it's given me an exact way of calling this from the documentation. So let's have a look at this. So if I do this chat.invoke and I pass in a human message, hello, how are you? And then you can see like we've got this chat model and we invoke the chat model with a human message asking the LLM how it is. Now the next thing we need to do is we say, I want to use pedantic models with structured outputs to figure out, to generate 3 to 5 business names. Okay, so we're giving it the LangChain documentation again, which you can see is in the context here. We're using 3.5 Sonnet, and then it's decided to create a business names one here. So we're going to copy and paste that, which is the business names. And we create an instance of the chat model. So we've already got one of those. And then we're using chat.with structured output, and we're putting in the business names. So let's put that afterwards. And then we'll just copy this. And then we can now invoke the data with a prompt to generate business names. So let's change this one here that we had before, and notice how we're calling the structured outputs chain to invoke that and generate some business names for a tech startup. Let me just run all this code from the top down and clean up the imports. And if you look here, if we look at what we have as a type of result, we have a business names pedantic object. If we look at this, and then we can see the .names property. And then again, what we can then do is we can start iterating on this. So we could use a bit of Command K that we're going to show you in the next lecture, where we can say Command K, also add on a score for each name, reason for selecting. And then we can change our business names pedantic model. And now we've got 3 individual lists, one which has the business name, one which has the scores, and one list of reasons which has a list of strings, and you've just got the reasons for choosing each business name. Okay, cool. If we now run this, what you'll see is you've got the ability to do result.names, result.scores, and also result.reasons. And what's interesting about this is that even though we didn't necessarily add this code in the chat window, if you look in the bottom, you can see that it has that context, the Jupyter notebook. So I can say, what are the keys inside of the business names pedantic model, right? And it's going to always index the documentation, which is why it's taking a little bit longer. So there is a trade-off here of if you add custom documentation, you obviously got to wait for that to be retrieved. But you can also see that even with the changes from Command K, it was able to integrate that back into the chat window. Okay, so I want you to think about these things rather than them being separate things that you use, like Command K, Command L, Composer. You can mix and choose these different techniques. So again, just to recap in this video, we had a look at how you can add custom documentation to a chat window, and that was using the @ symbol, going into the docs, and then clicking Add New Doc. After we'd waited for that documentation to index locally inside of your machine, then we started using the chat window to then generate some of the code, and then started iterating on that using up-to-date documentation from LangChain. Cool. See you in the next video. Hey, welcome back. This is just a quick video talking about I've made a free boilerplate code that you can use to kickstart your projects so that you spend less time coding on things such as authentication, payment, homepage design, and onboarding flows. Things like login screens, such as the create account, sign in account, registering, and forgetting password. All of that stuff is automatically done for you. Inside of the onboarding flows, we have a custom onboarding flow that we can follow, and we're going to edit this as well when we build our application. And this onboarding flow just allows us to get some information from users before they enter the system. So we have teams and organizations are already done. Also, you can set up various workspaces as well as inviting members as well. So you can see there's lots that's inside of this boilerplate. It's not necessarily just about the authentication. We've also automatically done things like organizations and teams. Now, we're not going to use the entire boilerplate for the chat app, but I just wanted to showcase all of the different types of things that currently exist in this boilerplate. I'll be updating this over time as I work on other projects, so feel free to let me know if you've got any ideas too. I've seen boilerplates going for like $150, $60, and I just think it's unfair. Other boilerplates also aren't cursor friendly. They don't have cursor rules. They don't have cursor ignore files. And I've put a lot of time, about the last 2 to 3 months, into building a production grade stack that focuses on best practices. So using vtest, playwright, CI/CD, and the local super-based development local stack that we used earlier in the MCP section of this course. Now, we're going to use this template to build a quick project demonstrating why you might decide to use this kind of boilerplate. In terms of where you can redeem this, the GitHub link is here. I'll also put the link in this video, which is just a GitHub repo, and we're just going to be able to git clone that repository locally onto your machine. It's a public repo, so you'll easily be able to access this.